You know what makes wolves such good predators? They're smart. Rather than hunting strong, healthy prey, they go after the weak, the injured, the most vulnerable. Todd here happens to be the CISO, or Chief Information Security Officer, of one of the medical world's biggest software companies, which means he's in charge of keeping all their data safe should the bad guys come knocking. At the moment, Todd is experiencing some chest pains, but I know what's really going on here. Last week, I paid his doctor a little visit.
Carmela, the doctor will see you now.
Good luck with that hip, Carmela. At offices like this, people are rarely at their desk for long. Of course, that wouldn't be a big deal if their smartphones could automatically lock down their PCs when they walked away. But right now, I'm hiding some malware that will allow me to bypass all their protections. This old PC, they'll never be able to detect or remove it. This way I could access Todd's file, and thus all his prescriptions. Just like that, I was able to mess with the dosage of his blood pressure medication, the side effects of which are dizziness and really bad indigestion. Now, a trip to the hospital, just like I planned.
Any family members you want us to contact?
My wife, but I don't want to worry her. I'm sure it's nothing.
Oh, it's gonna be something, all right.
HP Elite PCs, the world's most secure PCs.
Yeah, coming back, I think what's missing here is clearly is the earlier introduction in terms of secure. So the whole objective is how do we kind of secure enterprises or the government in the whole digital transformation journey. And you know, we have been hearing about digital transformation. So what I'm going to do is just briefly touch upon what are the trends that we are seeing, and hence how critical is digital transformation for an enterprise or a government customer, and what is that HP is doing in that space, and above all, how to ensure that when you are digitally transforming, you are secure as well. So, so some of the mega trends clearly, if you can see, are around the urbanization, which is like you're seeing new cities coming up, and hence a requirement for new kind of services. The changing demographics, whether it is the aging population or the young millennials who are a large percentage of a population who's demanding, and clearly whatever you do as, whether it is as enterprises or as for us as well, is if you're not relevant to the millennials or to the relevant population, then nothing works. So clearly that's the huge shift that is happening. Hyper globalization, there's nothing known as being done something for one country, it's all relevant across the globe, and whatever you can really do from a perspective that is kind of deployable across the globe is really critical and relevant. And lastly is around the accelerated innovation, in the sense that if you've seen over the last 25 years, some of the technologies are getting obsolete and the new ones are coming in, and the kind of innovation in the same technology is not just about 8 to 10 times, it's clearly at least 1 billion times more than what it would have been earlier. So clearly there is an accelerated innovation that is happening. And as we see that, we clearly see a need for a digital transformation, which is nothing but the physical and the fusion of physical and digital. And as that fusion is happening, security is so much more critical. And if you see on the left-hand side is around the different technologies in terms of Internet of Things, or even from the other transformation or this transformative manufacturing, is clearly a lot of stuff happening, and hence as the digital transformation is happening, we have to clearly be cautious about the secure element of that. And it's going to impact everyone. It's not just for vendors like us, but for customers like you. There are 4 clear critical areas. And so one is obviously it helps you acquire your customers. and you engage in a much more productive way with your workforce. So that is so critical from what was maybe few years back. So that is important. It also helps deliver your superior experience, which is technology is helping you as you are transforming yourself as your interaction with your customers, both internal and external, and how better you are able to service them. And most importantly is innovate. And how do you continuously keep innovating in your various processes, products, and the services that you kind of deploy. And obviously, doing this is critical because it helps you deliver your bottom line in terms of your revenue and profit. So clearly, a very, very important transformation that's taking place. And from an HP's perspective, I think we kind of work very closely with a lot of enterprises in terms of some of the areas which I've listed out here is the office of the future, and I'll come to that in a moment. Then is the document management system, IT as a service, moving away from a CapEx-based model to an OpEx-based model, enterprise mobility, and then transformative manufacturing. Transformative manufacturing is all about 3D, which is going to take place and explode in a very big way. So let me touch about on the office of the future. If you see here clearly, the future is that there is going to be no kind of difference between whether you're working at home, outside the office, or in the office. It is you seamlessly walk with your devices from your home onto the public domain, and then when you walk into the office. So the expectations are changing. The employees have to be much more productive. Clearly is around the workspaces. Workspaces are changing. These are no longer where the earlier culture of having fixed rooms, fixed desks, and where you're supposed to sit and work. This is all mobile. There is hardly any dedicated seats, or that's the new trend that is coming up. And then the other important one is the meeting spaces. Meeting spaces are no longer being held in meeting rooms. And in organizations like ours, we have meeting rooms very limited, and we all want to get in a meeting room. But a lot of our meetings are held openly as well, because that's how the power of technology, where you can really discuss, brainstorm, and you did not be exactly in a meeting room to do that. And obviously the offices, like I mentioned earlier, is changing. And so when we are doing this, as HP, we are building and creating products that help you kind of do this seamlessly without having to bother about having a product at home or a product in the office, but clearly get one single device that will help you work across your entire day in a typical day in the office. This is I spoke about being seamless and connected. Now, if you look at spoken about for some of the key verticals like healthcare, education, or manufacturing, retail, where clearly there are some of the use cases in terms of mobility solutions and collaborative kind of setup that we have. And if you look at the left-hand side, there is obviously a layer of applications that a lot of software vendors provide. But the devices is where we kind of bring in our expertise, whether it is on the computing or the printing part of it. And then the whole range of security and management solutions around it. There is on the PC as well and on the print. And I'll touch upon that as we go forward. And most importantly, delivering the services which helps you keep kind of secure as well. So these are clear examples of how critical it is from a device endpoint perspective to be secure. Because normally we tend to worry about our applications, our infrastructure, our cloud that we are on, or the entire data center part of it. But clearly, device is the real endpoint where there is whole possibility of great risk from a security perspective, whether it is cyber security or both malafide, and intentional as well. Moving on, I spoke about document and workflow evolution. Clearly, it's kind of moving from a traditional one device, one printer to a document management solution, which is clearly, have you seen earlier, it is to be all paper-based. From there, we are moving to paper and digital, and it's likely to be 100% digital. So when this is happening, it is really important how that data is being managed and being used, who's allowed to use that data, and that's where, from our perspective, our printing solutions really help you become secure from that perspective. this is an example of a document workflow when on the first phase when we actually convert paper to digital by scanning and storing in a storage solution, and the other part is use that intelligently to drive workflow automation in terms of approvals and allow only the relevant and secure people to actually see it, and then cut down both the time required as well as be secure. So clearly this is the big transformation that we are seeing happening in the industry in terms of from a paper perspective and workflow management. So these are clearly some of the benefits, but needless to say, the most important one is the second one, which is the authorization. With this, when you deploy a workflow solution around document management system, you really are able to authorize and secure it and make sure that there is no unwanted breach of any kind of approval systems or information flowing into the wrong hands. So this is the advantage when you actually deploy a solution. There are obviously various elements of it, but clearly security, being secure really stands out from that perspective. The other one is on the IT as a service. We've always had a model where we used to buy devices, then we used to, on a CapEx base, then go and look for some of the applications that will run for it, then some of the services along with it. So as HP, clearly we are looking at transforming this from a CapEx to an OpEx model, which is we call a device as a service. So we have earlier, if you see the various activities that I mentioned is to be done separately, but now moving forward with this single solution from us, you just have to pay per seat per month on a 3-year or 4-year period, and then we work out. You actually don't own the device, but you own the life cycle of that particular device, and it is so easy, it is scalable and it is modular. You kind of very easy to add devices as we go forward. It takes care of all your issues in terms of dealing with multiple vendors, and so here we bundle the devices, the services, and the financing as well. So clearly are able to offer one-stop solution. And what it does is, and we see this lot of being accepted favorably, because otherwise, like I was talking to a CEO of a BPO company, for example, and when this proposal was put forward, he clearly lashed it on and said that this is so important because when I go and negotiate for future businesses, I know that this is my fixed cost this is the cost for a 3-year period or a 1-year period, depending on kind of projects that I get in. Because I don't have to worry about various elements, and it's so easy to size the project and arrive at a P&L from an IT perspective. So clearly this is going to be the way forward. The managed print services, and I just touched upon a document management system, but clearly managed print services is around the hardware, is around the services, is around the consumables or supplies that we call it, and some of the solutions around it. And the benefit obviously is that it brings down your cost over a 3-year time period. You clearly are able to manage centrally the entire fleet of your hardware, and most importantly is you obviously are able to keep it secure as well. We have deployed this solution into a lot of large enterprises, and a lot of the trend is moving towards adopting managed print services from a traditional printer deployed model, plus buying separately different services and the consumables along with it. So this is one big area that we have a lot of strength, and we have been in this for at least last 3 to 5 years and understand this very well. And this clearly helps you cut down cost as well as you go forward. The last one is around obviously the transformative manufacturing, and HP was never into 3D manufacturing, but 3D printing. We started on this about a year and a half back. We made a lot of progress. We are working with some of the giants in the industry, whether it is Nike, BMW, J&J or Jabil. Obviously, it helps you bring the component cost down, become competitive, and the life cycle of a product launch from a creation to the launch is being curtailed down very, very significantly. The expectation is that this is going to be next big game changer and disruption in the manufacturing space. So clearly HP with its unique technology in this space is working. Obviously, I mean, just to be clear here, we haven't yet launched it in India. We will be doing that over the next 6 to 9 months. But this is some initiative, there's some area that clearly HP is focused and globally is working with a lot of large organizations to make sure how we can help from a 3D manufacturing. So just an example of how do you kind of build it from a 2D printing to and you build a product. And the best part is that you can build any kind of product without, irrespective of the size or the complexity of the design, because that's how it kind of helps you create a design and then build it as well, which is from a computing perspective, we have a story in terms of design, and then you straight away kind of go and manufacture on the 3D printer. So that's, I think, I kind of covered briefly about what is digital transformation and how enterprises are adopting it and why is it critical. Having said that, obviously there is an important question that you need to be cognizant and to be answered is, are you secure as you're going along on this journey? Because that is the most, because you're vulnerable. So is your IT infrastructure, and especially from an endpoint devices, both from a PC and print, is it secure as you're embarking on this journey? So, like I said, it is, and as you look at the digital transformation journey, they are more vulnerable than they were earlier because there are so many touch points from a digital perspective. So clearly you need to be, make sure that you don't come under these kind of attacks, and you keep hearing and reading about them almost regularly as to on the various type of cyber attacks that are happening and how vulnerable and how important it is both from a financial as well as from a reputation perspective, because once, like somebody asked about Aadhaar, because all the good work that Aadhaar would have done is taken away that particular incident that there was a data breach. Whereas there is so much other good work around Aadhaar and so much more potential that you can actually drive around Aadhaar. So the point I'm making is that there is a clear risk if you don't factor in the secure element of it, and both from a financial as well as a credibility perspective, and obviously it can have a big impact in terms of data privacy as well. So these are the endpoint vulnerables. You have clearly, it is said that there are a lot of visual hacking. Visual hacking is nothing but peeping into somebody's device when they are working behind their back, or you saw in the video that somebody just left it and went, and you kind of could have there, you actually had the opportunity to sit in front of the device and hack it. But visual hacking is peeping into somebody's devices, or also through an employee error or through malicious intent. Then there is around having not a real secure password, as simple as that. And if you look at some of the ways that there are vulnerabilities. We saw the malware example in the video before. Then having no secure access from a devices, anyone can be able to access your device. There's a visual hacking I touched upon. There's data inside your endpoint devices, whether it is a PC or print. So clearly these are the different vulnerabilities that we have. And as HP, what are we doing? So we have kind of have a strong story both at a device in all these areas, which is devices. From an identity perspective, is to allow only secure and authentic access of that device to somebody who's authorized to use it. Take care of our data by encryption and various software solutions that we have. And from a document perspective, as I touched upon earlier in terms of document management system, is building a workflow solution which will make it secure as well. Obviously, from an assets, I touched upon it clearly. There's a big risk around on the device itself, from the identity, who uses that device, and from the data that kind of resides. And these are some of the examples which talk about it. So as HP, as we are transforming the workplace by creating new products, and I spoke about Office of the Future, is building new products for the future. We clearly is the most important element is security. How do you make sure that the devices get secure? Because as you sir said, that we are not 100% perfect, and you can only prepare yourself to what you know have happened. But how do we also have the foresight and vision to make sure that in future also you are kind of protected? So that's where we do a lot of R&D and our development is around that in terms of making sure our devices are secure from that perspective. This is a very interesting slide because, you talk to anybody, they say, well, why should I worry about my printer because it just prints. But printer is nothing but, it's a PC as well. It has a hardware, it has software, it has got internet access, you're connected to the network, you can send email on its own because you go to a printer and select the email ID, it shoots that particular document to that email ID, and it's available on the network to everyone. So how do we ensure? We have to make sure that that particular printer is secure. It's not able to be accessed by anybody. And there have been instances where I think very recently a printer was used to hack into the network and create chaos. So we have to also secure a printer from that perspective. That's where I think we have our HP Jet Advantage solution. I will kind of not get into the details, but clearly trying to address all of these issues that I mentioned about is to make sure that your product, your printer is secure. There is no way that it can be hacked upon by anybody from within the organization or externally as well, because that particular printer handles documents and a lot of other workflow solutions that we spoke about. So that's I think from a PC and print perspective. So that's in a nutshell. I spoke about how digital transformation is happening and how HP is working closely with a lot of large enterprises and government in that journey. And as we are together in this journey, how do we make sure that we kind of build a very solid digital platform for you, but which is secure as well. Do feel to drop in by. We have a booth outside as well as we are available. If any query or anything is that, please do feel to reach us out. Thank you.